I'm Sydney Radka, and welcome to another edition of FLX Weekly here at FingerLakes1.com. We are live inside the FingerLakes1.com studio. It is already November 24th, 2021, and I'm joined today by Jim Sinicropi, Katherine Chase of the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail, and a special guest, Phil Plummer, who is the winemaker from Montezuma Winery. So we have lots of delicious wines, I can tell already, to try. So before I get to that, our show is brought to you today by Upstate Fiber Networks. So they have something new going on, and they're telling you to get ready to take your experience to the next level with them, because you are going to enjoy lightning fast internet and extra network security with a new thing called GigaSpire U6 router. I guess you get a Upstate Fiber Network smart home app with every plan that you do right now, which is great. It's the fastest, farthest reaching whole home Wi-Fi ever.
Agree with that.
So you can say goodbye to interference, dead spots, low bandwidth today at no extra cost. And you can visit their website at upstatefibernetworks.com, and you can sign up today.
Interesting that they chose that they're sponsoring this week, because I had them installed at my house this week, and it's great.
Beautiful.
The technician came, and we spent time strategizing best spot for the router, how they were going to run it into the house from the fiber line that they ran down my street and into my house. And it's been phenomenal. Previously with Spectrum, we had some buffering issues on our streaming platforms, on our TV, and those are gone. Everything it's faster. It's way faster, down and up. So far, I'm thrilled.
Oh, wow.
The smart home app, it has a lot of features on it, especially if you have young kids and you want to control their access to certain things. It's I'm very pleased. It's been about one full week now since we've been a
Upstate
UFN family.
Wow. So you literally, Jim's just said, you heard it from him first.
Yeah, I'm a customer now. It's great.
Yeah.
And if you want to get it, you need to go to their website. You put in your zip code or your address and find out if it's available yet. And if not, you can still submit that you want to sign up, and they'll prioritize installation in your area if
That's
there's
cool.
enough. So yeah, I'm really happy with them. Not just that they're a sponsor.
Well, yeah.
I'm a customer.
Yeah, firsthand experience. I love that. And I'm about to have some firsthand experience on some wines that I have never tried before. So we are officially welcoming our friend Phil. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Kathy Chase brought you on, so you must be a good contender for FLX Weekly.
He's going to make it so I don't have to do too much this week.
Okay, so what are we going to do this week? We don't have any food here for our Thanksgiving.
There's enough food tomorrow to eat.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we have a plethora of wines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you're familiar with Montezuma Winery, but we're really well known around this time of year for cranberry wines that we make.
Oh, okay.
That have become kind of synonymous with Thanksgiving. But today I wanted to do something where we talked about wines that go with Thanksgiving that aren't cranberry based.
Okay.
Cool.
Because if you don't know, we make over 30 different wines for that location, and they're all over the spectrum. And I really want to kind of prove that we're a one-stop shop for everybody's palate. So I've brought stuff that leans a little drier, a little bit more small batch, and we'll go through them.
Yay!
So, sounds good to me.
I love that. So all of these you're saying already are something I can pair with tomorrow.
100%.
He's a winemaker. You have to trust his word.
Yeah, right. Before we get into the wine quick, can we get into a little bit of your background, a little bit of your history?
Sure. So I'm originally from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I've been making wine in the Finger Lakes for the last 12 plus years.
Nice.
And I've been at Montezuma for about 12 of those. So
awesome.
We've kind of grown up as a company as I've been growing up. Mm-hmm. And it's been fun to watch things change and add. And we've added some new brands. We won't talk about them because they're on Seneca Lake. But we've really, really added a lot of dimension to what we do. So it's been fun to be a part of that.
Awesome.
It's been great watching them evolve, too. I've been with the Wine Trail for 7 years, and you knew them as the Fat Frog Reds and Whites and the Cranberries. And I get calls all the time at the wine trail office. Well, don't they only have sweet wine? I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I thought they had like 40 plus wine. So 30 is pretty tame, but they have the spirits too.
Well, Montezuma's always been aggressive because they were producing spirits before the distillery boom really hit in the Finger Lakes. Different types of wine, honey wines. It seems like there's always something new to try.
Yep.
And it's great. And as far as they're the closest winery to us here in Seneca Falls. They're at the north end, closer to the Thruway. Really high profile spot there on 5 and 20, and big fan of Montezuma for sure.
Absolutely. It's funny though, because growing up, I knew of specific people in my family that went for those sweet diamonds, I think, or fat frogs, and I was like, definitely trying those when I was younger. I was like,
that's
these
how
are
everybody
delicious.
starts.
And we appreciate that.
That's where you start.
That's definitely, at the end of the day, that's the stuff that helps us keep the lights on so that we can take chances with this weird stuff that I brought you today.
Yay.
Yeah, I like weird stuff.
Yeah, me too. My palate has very much enhanced, grown, aged.
Evolved.
Yeah, whatever word I'm trying to use. So I am ready for it all.
Cool.
Where are we going to start with?
Let's start with some bubbles.
Okay.
Okay, so the first glass that everybody has on their left is our 20-year anniversary Blanc de Blanc.
Ooh.
So if you didn't know, Montezuma turned 20 this year.
Woo.
So we've been working on this wine since 2015.
Wow.
This is from Chardonnay that was harvested in 2015. We bottled it while it was still fermenting in the summer of 2016. So champagne method, you give it bubbles by fermenting it in the bottle under pressure, and it sat in the bottle for 4 years before we cleaned it up last year and released it this year. So that's where you get all those really cool bread flavors.
Yeah.
Very Prosecco-y. it
just sits on the yeast, and the yeast breaks down and releases all those characteristics into the wine. And then the other thing that's special about this one is with the champagne method sparkling wines, when you clean them up, you're opening the bottle and removing the yeast, but that gives you an opportunity to adjust some of the sweetness. And we did that on this with some Vidal Blanc ice wine, which is kind of a thing that's becoming a big deal in Canada. The ice wine sweetened champagne style wines, but
it's
less
a cool
so
way
down
to
here.
do it, actually. Because I love ice wines, but so sweet you can't have a lot. You usually don't want to drink too much ice wine at once, and it's pretty expensive. But you sweeten up the it's good.
That.
This would be really good tomorrow morning.
That's what I was asking.
With some OJ?
Yeah.
Just a droplet of OJ.
Yeah.
This is delicious.
It is. It is really good. And what would you pair this with specifically tomorrow?
Oh, I think this goes with everything.
It's bubbles. It's versatile.
It's a celebration wine.
It's that, and acid is the key to a great food wine. So if you taste this, you can feel it kind of underneath the sides of your tongue.
In your jowls.
Yeah, and that's important for a lot of different reasons. It's because it cleans up whatever's in your mouth and kind of refreshes your taste buds. But also, anytime you salivate, it signals to your stomach that food's on the way and things start tasting better.
I love all these fun facts. They're already way better than ones that you had. And now, when someone's like, oh, why are you drinking all that wine? And be like, it's cleaning up everything that
it's just for my health.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a good wine to have a glass right before dinner tomorrow.
Sure.
With your appetizers, too. It's a good appetizer
wine. Watch the parade, right? Is that?
I think so,
watch the parade.
Yeah,
Macy's
sure
Day Parade.
Well, and that's kind of the whole idea behind aperitif wines, is that they're usually really high acid, so you're getting everybody hungry right before the food comes out.
Great, I didn't want to be hungry, and now I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to tell myself that I need to eat.
I have to drink this in order to eat more food.
Yes.
These are heavy pours, too.
Yeah, I know. I was loving the heavy pours when I saw them. So perfect way
I'm a heavy pourer, too. It's fine.
Perfect way to start Thanksgiving, our long weekend ahead.
Typically, when you're pouring a glass of wine, you're supposed to pour it to the widest point.
Oh, that's cool.
So I just
never told us.
So I brought a bigger glass. Sorry.
Yeah. You never told us that either.
I was saving all the facts for my guests.
Okay, understood.
Man, they're really putting me on blast today.
And again, what was the name of this one?
So this is our 20-year anniversary Blanc de Blanc. So Blanc de Blanc is French for white of white. Mm-hmm. In Champagne in France, they use 3 main grapes. They use Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. And Pinot Meunier and Pinot Noir are both black-skinned grapes.
Right.
So when they make sparkling wines from those, they're called Blanc de Noir, white of black. But if you make it from Chardonnay as your base, Blanc de Blanc is the term that you typically see used.
And that's a limited edition 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Get them while they last.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been around for longer than a decade, which is crazy. More than half of the time.
She's like, don't make me feel old.
Yeah, no, not at all. I was just
Cindy,
thinking
a lot of us have been around for longer than a decade.
You're the youngest one here. You're like 4 years old.
Okay. I'm a baby, whatever. Anyway,
what do we got next?
Yeah.
So the next one I have is our 2020 Reserve Edelsvicar. So Edelsvicar is a style.
I had this.
Different.
That's synonymous with Alsace in France, and Alsace is like right on the French-German border. So culturally, it's very German inspired. They're working with a lot of Riesling and Gewürztraminer and Pinot Blanc and Pinot Gris, things like that. So this is a blend of Pinot Gris, Gewürztraminer, and Riesling. Edelsvicar is a German word, and it's a compound word. Edel means nobles, Vicar means blend. So in Alsace, anytime you blend any of their noble grapes, you can call that wine an Edelsvicar. So this is kind of our nod to that style.
It's light.
I've never had this
taste
before.
is light, and then you get a little bit at the end, a little more power.
Yeah, 2020 was a really ripe year. So we had some really ripe tannins on these grapes, and we opted to ferment all of this stuff in barrels as a way to kind of soften those up.
I gotta be honest with you, the first taste, it's
weird how light.
It's very smooth and light, and it's almost like you're not drinking wine. Then it's kind of, once it's in your mouth for a second or two, and after you swallow it, you really get the after effect.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting.
Yeah. It really, when I went to first drink, I was like, maybe it was because I had the bubbles in the first one, that's why it felt like that.
This would go good with Thanksgiving dinner, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Turkey and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think Riesling is a natural pair for everything because it's got such great acidity. But when you contextualize it with grapes like Pinot Gris and Gewürztraminer that have some like floral, herby components to them, it speaks to a lot of the stuff that's around the turkey.
Yeah. And what's this? What was that word again?
Edelsvicar.
Edelsvicar.
Edelw.
Z-W.
There's a Z in there.
I-C-K-E-R.
Edelsvicar.
I would have definitely thought it started with an A.
Sounds like a German curse word.
Kind of does.
Well, so like Alsace is right on the border, so if you study European history, anytime that Germany starts feeling aggressive,
right,
it becomes Germany, right? Like it's the first part in France to fall. So culturally, they're still very German there from a wine and cuisine standpoint.
Maybe we should put this Edelsvicar in a blind taste test because we still have to see who's the real winner.
Yeah, I did blind taste tests 2 months, and they each won one, so they're waiting for their showdown.
Nice.
Gewürztraminer really helped me out because I guessed that one, which I felt really smart.
Pretty distinct.
I would feel like I would guess this too. I would never guess an Edelsvicar.
Well, I think Gewürz is so powerful.
Sure.
So like Traminers are a whole family of grapes that originated in like the foothills of the Alps, right? But Gewürztraminer is the spicy one. Gewürz is German for spice. So it's the spice Traminer. So you get these really, really expressive floral aromas off of it, even when you taste the grapes. Gewürz is one that when we're making harvest decisions, it's a lot more based on what we're tasting in the fruit in the vineyard than what the numbers are saying when we bring it back to the lab. Sometimes with other grape varieties, you can be guided a little bit more by how the acid's ripening off or how the sugar's ripening up.
Now, as a winemaker, when you make these decisions, how big is the group of people involved in making that decision?
It's usually myself and the grower.
Wow.
Well, it's nice to be able to have that type of authority, I guess, to make those decisions.
He's like, I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you are.
I think there's a lot to it, right? Like, and there's a lot of competing aims that you have to address. I think one of the things that I take very seriously, because we don't grow anything ourselves, right? So we're contracting with these growers, and they put a whole season into growing these grapes.
Right.
And if I miss on the harvest decision, they're out a bunch of money. So
right.
In years like this past year, 2021, where the weather was not ideal for grape growing,
putting it lightly.
we had to make a lot of decisions to bring things in and save them rather than wait for peak ripeness. So 2020 and 2021 were polar opposites from a growing standpoint. And it's something where I have to weigh the logistics of how do I get these grapes to the winery? Are they going to have a crew to pick them? And are they going to hold up until it's time to pick? So there's a lot going on. I put a lot of miles on the car from September through November.
Well, that's the best part about wine in the Finger Lakes and having so many wineries and talented winemakers in the region is learning how everybody does it a little different. But it's the art of it. It's not like a mass-produced Budweiser plant or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why the varieties and the different wineries and the different grapes and where they were grown and the different methods are so interesting, and it's never ending. You could spend every weekend going around the Finger Lakes and always get something different.
But you have to do that every year because every season changes.
Right, that's what
so
I mean.
it could be
never
different
ends.
every
It
year,
never
and
ends.
maybe
Like,
they have a different winemaker because that happens too, and they have a different preference than the one before. So
and
That is
as a newfound connoisseur of wine, I guess I've always liked wine but never paid as close attention as I have since Katherine started coming on in the past 5 or 6 years, let's say. And like for instance, I'll pick up any bottle of 2017 Pinot I can find. Because I just found that something about that year, it's just a little step above other Pinots. So
For your palate.
yeah, I mean, apparently that was a great year for Pinot Noir grapes. But
Did you ever think you were going to be a winemaker when you grew up? Like, did you know pretty early, or
ever since he could walk, he wanted to.
No. So I went to school at RIT, and I went there for this really like specialized science program.
What year did you graduate?
2009.
Okay.
old? Just kidding.
It's fine.
She was like 5 in 2009.
I'm in peace with it. Yeah. So I went there for this really specialized science program, and I had the realization like 3 years in that was going to land me behind a computer screen or a lab bench for the rest of my life, and I was terrified.
You went the opposite direction. Now you're getting the farm life almost.
Yeah.
Right?
So I had been taking wine classes there because they have a hospitality department, and anybody can sign up for them.
Awesome.
So as soon as I could sneak in, I was there and I was tasting, and wine was kind of like the Powerball dream, right? Like if you hit the Powerball and you've got unlimited money, start a winery. I was making wine and beer in my college apartment,
I love it.
so it was something that I was doing as a hobby, and then I got a summer job at Casa Larga in Rochester that turned into a year-long part-time thing, and that's where it kind of crystallized that this is something that you can do.
Great stuff comes when you do what you love.
Yeah.
We
A
just
lot
had
of
a very
winemakers
good
have this story.
conversation about that yesterday. I love that. That's awesome. That's a cool little, especially because you're like, oh, I'm in college. I feel like you're like, oh, I get to taste wine for an elective. I feel like that's like...
Yeah, absolutely.
A great dream.
And that's how I approached it at first, but it became something that became bigger.
So much more.
Yeah,
Awesome.
great.
Oh, I love it.
What's next?
All right, so this is where things get weird.
Ooh, cool.
Whoa. So this is a skin-fermented Traminette. This is part of a new series that we just released this past year called Volure.
It's not showing.
Volure is the French word for thief.
Ooh.
And that is in reference to a few things. One, the idea behind this line is that we're going to steal ideas from all around the world and make them our own.
Okay.
Traditions and oh yeah, we'll get there.
But Traminette is a Cornell grape.
It is. And the other idea is that if you see on the label, the crow here has a wine thief in his talons.
He's stealing the wine.
Yeah, a wine thief is a tool that we use to sample out of barrels and things like that. So it's something that we're using every day in the winery. So it's a multi-pronged idea. So Traminette is a Cornell grape. Gewürztraminer is one of its parents. But this is technically an orange wine.
I'm scared to try it. I'm not going to lie.
Where does the orange come in?
So the main difference between red and white winemaking is that in white wines, we're getting that juice off of the grape skins right away. So we're going direct to press, and we're taking that juice away. With red wines, we're leaving the juice in contact with the skins for like 2 weeks, sometimes more, and that's where you're getting all the color and the tannins, everything that makes red wine red wine. But with orange wine, you apply that red winemaking technique to white grapes.
Gotcha.
So this is like one of the most ancient styles of winemaking. So if you look back through like the archaeological record of winemaking, the oldest evidence that we have from that is from the Republic of Georgia, which is like just west of Russia. I think west. I don't know.
West southwest.
Yeah.
We won't fact check you.
Yeah. So in Georgia, this is how they make white wine. It's all skin contacted. So this is like a really old school style. Like the white wines that we understand now are all dependent on technology that didn't arrive until after the atomic era. So
look at this. Like, you can't even see my hand through the wine.
Yeah.
The bottle,
you know what I mean?
you can see.
It's kind of crazy.
I don't know if the camera will catch it. It's clear on the bottom of the bottle.
Clear on the bottom?
Like, well, that might just be the punt, I guess.
Yeah, it is the punt.
Never mind.
So with this one, this is actually a wild fermentation too. So with most of our wines, we're buying commercial yeasts and we're adding them to the fermentations because they have predictable things that they do, and we like that. Most winemakers are control freaks. Sure.
Are you?
I'm trying to not be.
I'm a winemaker.
I'm trying not to be.
Okay.
And products like these are where I get to let that side of me play. So in Europe, when they're making wines, they're never adding yeast. It's just all in the air. And whatever is in the air in that particular part of the world is what defines those styles. So when we're buying commercial yeasts, they're usually stuff that's been purified out of old world fermentations, and it's just a single strain. Wild fermentation is scary because it isn't predictable.
You like
Risky.
it. I can tell you.
You like it.
Well, I think
it's all about the risk.
Well, what I've been learning about myself is that what's really interesting to me about wine isn't the predictable stuff. It's like the squishy stuff that lives in between the data points.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you let things just run on their own, you get more of that essence to them.
This, I'm not going to lie, this one really scared me. I was like, will I like this? And oddly enough, I like it, but I feel like I have to keep drinking it because I keep getting like different tastes. I don't know.
Is this oak?
Yeah, so when we pressed this off, this went like 21 days on skins, and it was whole cluster, so the stems were in too. So you get some texture from that. But then we went to really neutral barrels for 4 or 5 months.
So what's a neutral barrel? Plastic?
No, it's just an oak barrel that you've used over and over and over again.
I gotcha. So like the oakiness has been...
Yeah, that comes out after like 5 or 6 years of use.
Okay.
So...
Is it bad that like the oak, I get it, that's the proper way to do it, but in my mind I was like, I feel like I taste a campfire, if that makes sense. I'm like in a campfire.
Well, no,
vibe.
you taste that smoky earthiness of the
the
oak.
smoking. Even if you smell it, you can kind of feel like this could be like, a campfire smell.
Yeah, and
It's
I think that has to do with the wild fermentation. So like this wine, if I poured this for a lot of winemakers around here, I would get very mixed opinions on it. And some of them would not be very happy with me.
Taste it and tell me you don't taste campfire now.
Huh?
Taste it again and see if you taste a campfire.
A campfire?
Yeah. That's what I feel like. It's a campfire.
Yeah. So I think one of the
it.
yeast strains that we had running wild in here did that.
Okay,
So I think that's less influenced by oak and more just the fermentation itself.
Cool. I like it.
All right,
I
what's
think it's
next
definitely
here?
It's
different.
really in-depth and
running out of
diverse.
time here.
Cruising.
Although
We're
we don't
cruising.
have a time limit, so I guess we're not running out of time. But
No, I keep going. I'm so interested
We
in
create
all this
the
stuff.
rules.
Yeah.
Ooh, what we got here?
So this is another wine on that Velour series we were talking about. And this is a Lemberger, but it's co-fermented. So there's a part of the Rhone Valley in France called Côte Rôtie. And in Côte Rôtie, what they're famous for is Syrah. But when they make the Syrah, they add a little bit of a white grape called Viognier to the fermentations, and it changes the aromatic profile and the texture and everything else. So with the idea of this line being that we're going to take an idea and run it through our own lens, we don't have a lot of Syrah around here. It's around, but it's not as accessible for us. We're not growing grapes, so it's usually something that's off the table. But Lemberger is a grape that's very similar. And one of the grapes that Lemberger grows around in the old world is Gruner Veltliner. So we used Gruner Veltliner for the co-ferment. Okay. So it's about 6% and just fermented all together.
So there's white Gruner in here.
Mm-hmm.
This one is delicious.
Yeah,
I could eat this with a meal.
Give me some Gouda.
Yes.
And give me a block of Gouda and a bottle of this, and we'll call it a night.
Literally, I could eat bread and butter with this, and it would be delicious.
And your whole Thanksgiving. Would this pair with your whole plate or something more in particular?
So I think when you're pairing red wines with things like turkey, you need that acidity, and you need it to be a little lighter. So this one kind of matches both of those. But it's got kind of this savory, herby thing to it that I think is going to go with stuffing and mashed potatoes.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
And that's why Jim liked this. You're a Pinot Noir lover. You like that lighter red, so you like the lighter qualities of this.
Yes, this is delicious.
Thanks.
I would literally...
it's just interesting. It's just interesting. The smell is interesting. The aroma is interesting. And the... it's delicious. I
think you really are opening our eyes because, like, I had to remember, like, these are Montezuma wines, and you hear of the real ones that everybody always keeps the lights on with.
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
like, okay, there is a plethora of different ones that I've never tried at Montezuma.
Love that.
Awesome.
Love that one.
We'll only do a slight mention. They do have Idle Ridge on Seneca Lake, and you're doing similar things there too, broadening your horizons and experimenting there too.
So Idle Ridge is all grape-based wines, and they skew drier. So it's a departure from what we were built on, but I think we've been making some really cool stuff for there too.
Yep.
You work with
So the Martin family owns all of everything.
And we make everything right over in Seneca Falls. It's the same facility.
Oh, okay.
So
it's more of a tasting room out there in Idle Ridge.
Yep. It used to be, or did he build it?
Yep.
Yeah, they bought. It was King's Gardens. Then it turned into Fossenview. But I think Fossenview is now part of Idle Ridge, which is another branch of Phil experimentation.
So I think the last time I was there, it was Fossenview.
Yeah, so Fossenview is just like, it's kind of where we tie the two brands together. So it's just weird experimental, like fruit and honey wines, but with more traditional technique applied.
It's great. That's great. That's my favorite so far.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm going to buy a few bottles of that.
I love it. It really does make me want to broaden my horizon specifically with Montezuma.
Well, I appreciate that.
It's amazing. I'm loving life right now.
This next one has a smaller bottle, so it makes me think that it's higher in alcohol.
Tread lightly.
Let's go.
Port wine or dessert wine?
It's a fortified wine. So the name of this wine is O Trapacero. And that's because we can't say port, right? Port's it's place regulated.
Portugal.
Ports are made in Portugal. So O Trapacero is Portuguese for the trickster.
I love that.
And we're just on this Velour series still, but this is made from the Catawba grape, which you usually see a lot in sweeter table wines.
This is good.
This one has a strong smell.
Could you make cranberry sauce with this?
You could definitely make cranberry sauce with it.
Jim? All right, let me try.
Put fresh cranberries in your pot.
Yeah.
That would be an expensive cranberry sauce, I'm sure.
Fine.
Delicious.
Pull that. What I like to do with cranberry sauce is put orange juice in and then bring it to a boil, let it cook down. I mean, that's really all it is. Some orange zest as well, a little salt, maybe a little cinnamon or nutmeg. But yeah, that would be interesting to use this instead of the orange juice.
Why are we treading lightly? What is it?
So it's a fortified wine, and what that means
is alcohol percent.
That we 17.5.
Yeah.
So
Love
we've
it.
added
like
distilled
10
spirits to this one.
Cheers.
And that's how we leave the sugar in. We're actually stopping the fermentation with spirits. We're driving the alcohol up high enough that the yeast won't operate.
Wow.
So like fortified wines are a relic of the age of exploration. Like when Europeans first started to sail around the world, one of the things that they realized was that their wines didn't hold up to transatlantic and trans-Pacific voyages.
Oh, right, sure.
So they started adding alcohol to them because that's a way that you could keep them from spoiling.
Yeah.
So like port, sherry, Madeira, all that stuff comes into being around the age of exploration because you wanted a way to get your wine across the ocean without spoiling. And that's where this style came from and why we have it now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is so, we have learned so
There's
much.
going to be a quiz after this, you guys?
Oh, yeah. I'll go back and watch this because he's given us so many great facts. But
That first impact that when this hits your tongue is like delicious.
yeah, it really
And
is.
then you start to feel like the strength that you get the alcohol a little bit
The warmth.
at the end. But yeah, this is great. I like dessert wines, port wines. Again, I'm not going to sit down and hammer 3 glasses of this, but
I'll drink this while I eat my cheesecake.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yum.
Well, and that's the idea with pairing wine with dessert too. Is if you generally want your wine to be as sweet as the dessert itself,
If not sweeter.
If
Which
not
is
sweeter.
crazy to think about because I feel like you would think like that's overkill, but it never is.
No,
it
it's
never,
not.
it never
And
does.
it's never overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes this thing happens where the sweet pairs off with the sweet and kind of drops away, and you taste everything else that's going on.
So out of the ones that you brought, which one is your favorite here?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
They're his children. You
They're
can't
your
make him pick a
babies. Yeah, that's
favorite.
what
my favorite's a Lemberger.
Yes,
Yeah.
we knew that. We knew that was coming.
I think this Treminette orange wine is like
This was
the
something
direction I'm
different.
trying to head in.
You know,
I wish it was more orange.
of all the wine we're
Yeah.
drinking in here, this is certainly stands alone as being maybe one of the most unique. in
I
just
agree.
How it's made and the way it looks.
And
Well,
this
stay
would-
tuned.
This would
Ooh.
go with your whole Thanksgiving plate?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'll go back and try it again. Let me see. Let me smell it again.
Yeah,
And
because I brought Gewürztraminer
You
on
really
last
taste
year.
the
So
orange
Right.
in that after that port.
Oh yeah, this is the one that I said still reminds me of a campfire. And I
Yeah.
love campfires, so must love the wine.
When you have aromatic grape varieties like Traminette, a lot of those really floral aromatic compounds live right next to the skin. So they're most concentrated there. So when you're making white wines from them and you're separating them off of the skins right away, you're losing a lot of aromatic potential. So these grapes are really well suited to skin fermentation because you can make these over-the-top aromatic wines with them that kind of showcase the intensity that's there that you sometimes lose when you're just making straight up white wines with them.
Cool. So during the off season, I guess there's
I don't know
a
if
little
there's
bit of
ever
an
an
off
off-season.
season. Are you just thinking in your head of like grapes and stuff that you could pair to make different types of creations?
Sometimes.
He's like a mad scientist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think. Like we've said it a million times, but to think of all the stuff that goes into it behind the scenes before it gets to the bottle is always mind blowing for me.
I just think it's beautiful that you have the freedom to basically come up with ideas like this, and then through time they end up packaged nicely with a proper name and in a bottle, and so something that was an idea that you kind of brought through the season into the bottle. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's rewarding.
Absolutely.
That is. That is
And I think for my entire time that I've been at Montezuma, I've had a really long leash.
good.
But I just didn't it wasn't until a few years ago that I started to live on the end of it.
On the edge.
That's
living
kind
on
of
the edge.
what I absolutely. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
it
trying
has
to do.
been recent kind of.
Like,
cool.
Comfort zones are beautiful places, but nothing ever grows there.
But Bill Martin is very into the experimental.
Yeah.
And so he's perfect for you to work with.
Yeah.
And that's why you said stay tuned, which is more exciting. We might have to bring him back
on.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we might have to bring him back on. I do want...
I mean, thanks. This was great, very informative and interesting. Some unique stuff that we haven't seen before.
I agree.
And again, I love it when I can leave a show like this and say, okay, I'm going to head out to Montezuma. I'm going to pick up a couple bottles of Lemberger. I'm going to pick up one of the... What was the name of the...
It's called O Tropicero.
O Tropicero.
We can't legally say port.
Right.
So even though stylistically it's the same.
And I think we'll probably pick up a bottle of the 20th anniversary. My wife and her friends love the bubbly. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll get one of those too. But yeah, I like it.
They also have Black Friday sales going on.
Oh, yes.
And
Black
I think
Friday.
Cyber Monday.
And Cyber Monday.
I
think they open at like 7 a.m. on Friday,
You probably do have that up and down the wine trail right now. Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. It's that time. We're
perfect
in the
time to
season.
stock up. I mean, get gifts for other people.
No, stock up. I'm redoing my kitchen, and I got a specific little wine rack that I wanted, and it's got like 20 little places.
Only 20?
So gotta fill them up.
To start.
20,
it's got the wine.
You think 20 sounds like a lot, but it's...
Well, I want to have them. I want to be like Jim more, and I want to stock up, and I want to be like, I'm going to pick this
But I've also run out of room, and I'm making plans on where I can store more wine because our rack is full.
Okay, that's amazing. We do need to touch base on the weather.
Oh, right.
I know we're over time, but it's okay because it was worth it. But
well, it's a holiday edition of FLX Weekly.
Yep.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanksgiving tomorrow. The holiday season starts officially tomorrow. I got to get my Christmas lights up this weekend.
Ooh, okay.
High school basketball starting up, which we're going to be on top of that at Finger Lakes 1, but our first live webcast probably won't start until the first week of December. But yeah, it's a great time.
It is the most wonderful time of the year.
So they say.
Well, June, July, August, not bad, but it's all good. But this weekend, if you're looking for your Thanksgiving forecast, a chance of showers after 1 p.m., otherwise cloudy with a high near 48. Who cares? You're inside eating dinner, watching football. Friday, snow showers, high near 34, breezy with a west wind at 17 to 22 miles per hour. So if you're going out to the mall or wherever you might be going, it's going to be cold. When that wind hits you, it's going to be the coldest thing you've felt probably since March.
Yikes.
And blowing snow could cause some issues if you're on the road. But then it does get better, not warmer, but better. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 34. That's a pleasant day. Overnight Saturday down to 25. So it'll be frosty on Sunday morning when you wake up, and a slight chance of showers after 1 p.m., mostly cloudy with a high of 37. And then after it's all over, Monday, you're heading back to work. Partly sunny, high near 39. So decent. I'm happy we're not getting a lot more rain because everybody's saturated already here in the Finger Lakes. And it should be a pleasant holiday weekend for whatever you have planned.
It's getting cold, though.
Syracuse basketball at the Battle for Atlantis. Their first game's tonight at 5. So that's pretty cool.
They
Syracuse
better shape
football
up then.
Saturday against... But yeah, they better shape up.
Just saying.
Want to welcome Ted Baker aboard, who started this week with us. Of course, he's a longtime broadcaster from Finger Lakes, the radio group. He's now on our team. You're going to see a lot of great content coming from Ted. Our news coverage should be enhanced. And yeah, everything's great. Very thankful for everything going on here at Finger Lakes 1.
Agreed. I am in that same boat as well. And we're very thankful that we had you guys on the show today because you just gave us so much knowledge and so many exciting things to go to Montezuma and check out. So many things to look forward to. You seem to be in the perfect fit, perfect job, loving what you do, living your best life.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. It was awesome. We could have made
time.
This a 4-hour show. I love listening to it.
Anytime you want.
So,
yeah, we're going to bring you
definitely
back on when you have some more exciting news. And
then maybe next time, Katherine can actually bring some food for us.
Mad that you brought food on too much before. Now mad that we don't have any food.
Just can't win.
That's really all the time we have. I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving here. I hope everybody that was watching enjoyed the show. If you liked it, you can click share. You can share with your friends. You can click like. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until then, we'll be back again, of course, next Wednesday. Have a great weekend here in the Finger Lakes. I just did it.